The Kazathi warship Crimson Fang had seen countless battles across 3 star systems, but it had never encountered chaos quite like this. Rena stood in the cargo bay, hands on her hips, watching the scene unfold with a mixture of amusement and exasperation. 3 Kazathi cubs, each no taller than her waist but possessing razor-sharp claws and teeth that could tear through steel, were running in circles around a storage container, shouting at the top of their lungs. Activate! 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 The container, being an inanimate object with no voice recognition software, remained stubbornly inert. Vero, the eldest of the 3 cubs at barely 6 solar cycles, planted his small clawed feet firmly on the deck plating and thrust his furry arms toward a wall panel. His orange and black striped fur bristled with determination. Activate door system. Nothing happened. You're doing it wrong, squeaked another cub, shouldering Vero aside. You have to say it like the human does. The smaller cub cleared her throat and attempted what she clearly believed was a human accent. Still nothing. Rena pressed her lips together, trying not to laugh. This had been going on for 3 days now, ever since the cubs had witnessed her using voice commands to operate her personal tablet during their cultural exchange program. To the Kazathi, a species whose technology relied primarily on neural interfaces and physical touch controls, the concept of speaking to machines was revolutionary. Magical, even. The problem was that only her devices responded to voice commands. The Kazathi ship systems certainly didn't. Little ones, Rena called out gently, walking toward the frustrated cubs. Remember what we talked about? Vero's ears flattened against his skull, the Kazathi equivalent of embarrassment. His golden eyes, still holding that predatory gleam that made humans instinctively nervous, looked up at her. But it worked for you, human Rena. You said activate scan, and your device obeyed. You said activate translation, and it spoke our language. That's because my devices are programmed to listen to my voice, Rena explained, crouching down to their level. She'd learned early in her assignment that Kazathi cubs responded better when you didn't tower over them, something about prey dynamics and dominance hierarchies. Your ship systems don't have that programming. They work differently. The smallest cub, barely old enough to have lost her kit teeth, tilted her head. It seems... She searched for the word in Standard Galactic. Inefficient. Abatic, inefficient. Rena smiled. It was a fair question. Most species in the Galactic Federation had evolved beyond voice commands centuries ago, considering them primitive. Neural links were cleaner, faster, more direct. But humans had stubbornly held onto their voice interfaces, even as they'd integrated newer technologies. Because, Rena said, pulling out her tablet, humans like to feel in control. When we talk to something, it's personal. It's interactive. 4, action were. Any 4. And besides. She held up the tablet. Activate display. The screen flickered to life, showing a rotating image of Earth. The cubs gasped in unison, their tails swishing with excitement. It's really cool. Rena finished with a grin. Viro's eyes widened. Teach us. Human Rena. Teach us the proper way. Ass. 2. Over the next hour, Rena found herself conducting an impromptu lesson in human voice interface technology. She explained frequencies, recognition patterns, and programming basics to 3 small predators who hung on her every word with an intensity usually reserved for hunting instructions. So the machine learns your voice? Viro asked, his claws tapping thoughtfully against his muzzle. Exactly. It's trained to recognize specific patterns in how I speak. And any human can command their machines this way? Most of them, yes. We've been doing it for centuries. Started with simple things, lights, thermostats, music players. Now we can operate entire ships with voice commands if we want to. The cubs exchanged glances, and Rena could practically see the gears turning in their young minds. This is why humans are dangerous, Vero said suddenly, with the blunt honesty only children possessed. You make even simple things into weapons. Vero. Rena blinked. What? Mother says humans are the only species who can't interface naturally with technology, so you force technology to interface with you instead. She says that's why the Federation watches you carefully. You don't adapt to the universe, you make the universe adapt to you. The comment struck Rena silent. She'd never thought of it that way. Humans were the odd ones out, no natural telepathy, no neural ports, no biological integration with machines. They were, by galactic standards, primitives stumbling around with external tools. But they'd made those tools sing. Your mother is a wise warrior, Rena said carefully. She also says humans are crazy, piped up the smallest cub. But the good kind of crazy. The kind that wins impossible battles and befriends species everyone else fears. Rena laughed. I'll take that as a compliment. Vero suddenly stood at attention, his posture shifting into something more formal. Human Rena, I have a request. Go ahead. Will you teach us to make our devices listen to voices? Our voices? His eyes gleamed with excitement. Imagine a Kzathi warrior who can command their weapons without touching them, who can override ship systems just by speaking. We would be unstoppable. The other cubs chittered in agreement, their tails lashing with enthusiasm. Rena considered this carefully. The Kzathi were Federation allies, fierce warriors with a strict honor code. Teaching their young ones human technology wasn't forbidden, exactly, but it would definitely raise some eyebrows at command. Then again, wasn't that what cultural exchange was all about? All right, she said, pulling up a programming interface on her tablet. But first, you need to understand basic coding. Can't just shout at things and expect them to work. We can learn, Viro declared. Kzathi cubs are fast learners. Mother says I memorized the entire warrior's code in only 2 moon cycles. Then let's start with something simple. Rena connected her tablet to a small training drone she'd brought for demonstrations. We'll program this drone to respond to one specific command from each of you. Choose your words carefully. 3 pairs of predatory eyes locked onto the drone with laser focus. 2 weeks later, Commander Thexkal of the Crimson Fang stood in the cargo bay, staring in disbelief as 3 cubs demonstrated their new skills to an assembled group of adult warriors. Small drones zipped through the air, responding to shouted commands in high-pitched Kzathi voices. Activate Defense Pattern Omega, Vero roared, and his drone immediately deployed tiny, harmless shields. Activate Evasive Maneuvers, screamed another cub, sending her drone into a complex spiral. Thexkal turned to Rena, his scarred face unreadable. What have you done? Human? Rena straightened, meeting his gaze without flinching, another thing the Kzathi respected. I taught them that technology serves the user, Commander. Not the other way around. A slow smile spread across the commander's fanged muzzle. The Federation will hear about this. I imagine they will, sir. Good. He watched as Viro executed a perfect synchronized command with his littermates. 3 drones moving as one. Let them see what happens when humans share their madness. Perhaps the rest of the galaxy could use more of it. As if on cue, all 3 cubs turned toward the assembled warriors and shouted in perfect unison, Activate Awesome. Nothing happened, of course. But the joy on their faces suggested they didn't care. Humanity's gift to the galaxy, Rena thought, wasn't just technology. It was the audacity to believe that even impossible things would listen if you just asked loudly enough.